That sounds very relaxing.
Yeah. And then, of
Honey,
course,
can you
like
stop
any
reading?
and like any audiobook, of course, you fall asleep halfway into chapter 1, and then you wake up covered in this 1-inch strip of paper.
That's a great use of company resources. What? I don't know what you're talking about. I made these at home in my own time.
Yeah, on my own industrial-sized Wi-Fi capable printer scanner monstrosity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what did my friend call it? An unknowing sponsor. That's what
Yeah.
your workplace is for your free time endeavors. I mean, this was when we were doing amateur theater, and we also had a photo club, a photo. Yeah, we took photos and had exhibitions. Oh yes, but we need some flyers. Okay, yeah, how many we need? Oh, 500. Oh yeah, I'll print that at work.
Yeah.
They don't need to know about it.
Easy peasy.
No problem. Infinite printing credit. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all free.
Well, it's just a pay bonus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't give me a pay rise this year, so I will take it in other ways.
Yeah.
I'll take it in print. Oh, what am I worth? Well, that's a lot of printer ink.
It's got to be worth at least 10,000 credits, right?
At least, yeah. That being said, though, I stumbled over a YouTube video where a guy, to try to manage his ADHD, and I'm not sure if it was the end product or just the process of making it, but he got like a label printer, like the ones that you use for receipts and whatnot, and it wanted to get away from a digital, like a calendar and task system. So he just spent a lot of time writing a script that could take all the tasks from his computer and then just print them out at receipts, and then you could just pull it off, do that, and once you've done that task, you can just put it on a spike like they do at restaurants and whatnot, and then you could press and get the next task. And it was something very aesthetically pleasing of just getting a paper printer like a needle writer, or no, this was probably the one with heat treated laser paper, and just tearing that off, and I really wanted one of those printers, but I had to be honest with myself. I don't have the time to do the input to make it work as I would want it to. So.
Yeah, I've got one at work, but again, all it seems to do is just, it doesn't matter how hard I try, just all it wants to do is spew out just rolls and rolls and rolls of gobbledygook. So yeah, it goes back on a shelf, and one day I'll look at that, but
yeah,
not today.
And one thing is, with the heat treated paper, it has a shelf life of, I mean, after 1 to 2 years, it's gone, whatever you've written on it. So it has just a momentary use at best. So yeah.
I always wanted. I mean, they always looked really cool when you see in like old movies when they got telegraph printouts of just one big line of paper.
Yeah.
Ticker tape.
Yeah, and I mean, just and I would like to have something like that for like the Teams chat or so. You get all the messages, just and you get like a meter of, okay, this is all the message, and you can just
I was going to say, I would like to put, I think it was Scrooge McDuck in one of the old cartoons. He had one of those for the stock
Yeah.
exchange, and it was in like a glass dome because the printer was
Exactly.
very mechanical. I would want that next to my bed, and then you could feed it books. I'm gonna read Lord of the Rings now.
That sounds very relaxing.
Yeah. And then, of
Honey,
course,
can you
like
stop
any
reading?
and like any audiobook, of course, you fall asleep halfway into chapter 1, and then you wake up covered in this 1-inch strip paper.
No. Darling, would you mind awfully turning off your electromagnetic punch paper card system? Why don't you just get a Kindle like everybody else?
Yeah.
Could you get one of those? Or how? What would you need? What would you use for a base to build something that looked like that? Worked like that?
You need one of those. Oh, they've got a name. Of course, they've got a name. I just don't know what the name is. It's like the thing that you put orchids under. Or, yeah, sort of like botanical stuff. It's got like a base on it and then this big glass dome that sits over the top.
Yeah, they have those at IKEA. Yeah.
They've got everything at IKEA.
They do. I don't think they sell the printer though, but everything else you can get from IKEA. Yeah.
No.
And you can't really use is it Dymo, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
One label makers that wouldn't really.
That's the cool though. You should get the old one where you had the twisty wheel, so you
Yeah.
twisted and then you had to press, and then you 3D print a mechanical arm for that. So
Yeah, that one.
and then you make that digital. So you're just writing in WhatsApp, and you have by the side of you have this arm just hammering that out into a scanner that scans it and put it back in again.
So you get a digital photo of it.
Because I saw this guy who, I think it was at a maker fair. He's made several different ways of not wirelessly, but mechanically transferring data. So of course you had a Arduino, and you could write in a message, and then you could choose the mode of transport. So one of them was just a traditional electrical wire. It just sends the digital signal over. That's boring. Then you could switch, and then it was like an axle that you rotated, right for 1 and left for 0. So whatever you wrote, it converted to ones and zeros, and that axle just left and right. And there was certain variations of that, and that got me thinking, I would like to make something like that. I would like to have an Arduino where you can write something in, and it needs to convert it to, it doesn't need to be zeros and ones, but that is probably easiest, but it would be cool with Morse signal. So it converts it to Morse, and then send that to a recorder, which just blast off Morse signals. And then on the other side of the room, you have a speaker who detects that Morse code and translates it back to writing. So it's like a recorder-based wireless transfer data system. Yeah, I should think of a better name for it to get a good acronym.
That is so dumb.
It sounds like an absolute king nightmare.
A fuel of nightmares.
Exactly. Just clicks and whistles and bleeps and bloops.
It sounds very much like a you project. So
Yeah. I mean, there is that. I really should be more prepared for this. I really should retain information better in my mind. But there's a machine. There's a musical machine which plays notes it's so slowly in an order that it's going to take like 1,000 years to finish its performance.
Oh yeah.
And you can go to I think it's a church in London where it's being performed live, and you can go and sit there for 2 hours and listen to one note.
Yeah.
But then people have worked out that actually, on this day the note's going to change, and so more people turn up to experience the note change.
Go from
Yeah, 'cause
bo
I think
and
they
everyone cheers.
Pretty much that, yeah.
wasn't this the YouTube channel Look Mom No Computer who made what's the largest? I mean, it's a Gogol. They call it. It's a very large number, and so he made like a Gogol counter. So it was a row of LCD displays, 10 digits and 10 rows of that again, and of course the first digit counts to 10, and then the other one ticks over to 1. And then they just calculated by the time the last digit ticks over, it's like 1,000,000 years or something ridiculous. So it's like,
Yeah.
will someone actually take this machine into their care for their lifetime in enough subsequent times to keep it running for basically an eternity?
Yeah, but then you get that problem. Is it the 1,000-year clock or 10,000-year clock, or that project that someone is working on, where there's okay, but we can't use steel because that's not reliable enough, because that will break down in a couple of 100 years. So they just use uh, ceramics and stuff that will last a really long time.
Yeah, I know the one. I'm sure carbon's in there somewhere,
Yeah, wouldn't
isn't it
surprise
not?
me.
Yeah.
That's I mean that's a really silly but in the same time really interesting engineering project.
I want it to become so old that at some point they can't carbon date it anymore. So at some point it will be so old that they can't tell how old it is. That's my goal.
Needing to send something so far into the future, I mean, that you have some kind of Napoleon complex, I feel.
I mean, I saw something here. Yeah, I mean, all the radio signals, I mean, they degrade after time and distance. But I heard sometime that all the radio signals, all the radio programs that we have ever produced, we have transmitted out there. So we are a big loudspeaker to anyone listening out there. But then someone put into reference, I mean, if you're traveling at the speed of light, it will take you these many years to get to the edge of our own galaxy. And then to reach the next one, it would take an additional tremendously huge number of years. And then they just put in like a small dot. This is how far our radio waves has come this far. So the people who are worried about us transmitting loudly and making ourselves known, none of us living today will ever have to worry that reaching anyone else, because we're going to die long before it even reaches the edge of our own solar system. So
Yeah. Has that gone down with us switching to digital instead of analog?
no, I mean
Because or are we blasting at the same amplitude, so to say, from the thing we are transmitting now?
I mean the higher frequencies. I mean they are. I mean we're still blasting them out there, and I'm not sure when they're leaving the atmosphere.
Yeah.
When it's a vacuum, then how much will a radio signal, digital or analog, or at any frequencies, degrade over time? That is far beyond my. Ask me next week. I will have Googled that and answer as if that is something I've known all my life. The AI overview says that radio waves do not degenerate in the vacuum of space in a sense of decaying into nothing, but their intensity weakens due to the inverse square law, which makes sense. And then further down, radio signals traveling through the total vacuum do not attenuate but spread, so that the flux density decreases with distance. So yeah, I mean, you are sending out in all direction, and the bubble get bigger the longer out you get. So yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. What was the mysterious radio signal in 1997?
Oh, is that when the radio waves from the Big Bang started bouncing back?
I wouldn't know what
Because
wasn't there.
they hit the edge of something. It's coming back.
I was gonna say, was that the year of Woodstock? But and again, I wouldn't know. Wasn't there?
On they bounced on the inside of the tinfoil hat on the universe.
That maybe you know this, KJ. I'm not sure, but the between Norway and Sweden, there is a patch of forest, and they just call it the Finn forest because a lot of people with Finnish heritage came and settled in the area, and everyone now living there claim that they are of that lineage. But in the latter years, a lot of people have been drawn to that area, creating states within the states where they have turned in their passports and put on their tinfoil hats, and it's a very high concentration of that kind of demographic on the border between Norway and Sweden in those very dense forests, because nobody could care less going there to check on them. So I mean, it's understandable, but is that the same from your side? Do the weird Swedish travel to the same patch on the border from the other side?
I hadn't heard about it, but then again, I'm on the other side of the country from, so I'm on the east coast, so I wouldn't know. And people claim that we in the capital and around there doesn't listen to the rest of the country, and that might be true as well. So no, I hadn't heard about that, but it seems very possible that. I mean, yeah, there are weirdos in the woods everywhere here. It feels like. I was one once, so.
Then you move out of the woods, basically.
Yeah, I'm just cosplaying as a normal person at times.
How's that going?
Yeah, well, you win some, you lose some. Yeah, if I was trying to look normal, I would be my worst enemy, I feel.
Oh, to quote a book title, why be normal when you can be happy?
That's a really good quote, actually.
If only I can remember who that was. But thankfully we have Google. This is, and I think I need another flag for this one.
The double meaning of that flag is, I mean, it's lost on the listeners by its very nature, but to us it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be taken many ways. Why Be Happy When You Could Be Normal by Jeanette Winterson. If anybody wants to read that book.
Did not ring a bell, but no.
It's an autobiography, I think. And that piece of music is called As Slow as Possible.
Fitting.
It's the performance started in 2001 and is due to end in 2640.
2040?
2640.
26, all right. Because 2040, I might actually...
2,640 years.
That's a bit much.
It's not in London. It's being performed in... I'm not even going to pretend to try and pronounce that German name. We'll stick it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll like this. It's operated by Bellows. It's a bellows performance. Custom built bellows too. Whoa.
All right.
Again, this is great audio content.
Exactly. And I'm going to top it. I went to lookmomnocomputer.com/Google counter. The counter built to count to a go-go, even though doing so is impossible. Counting at approximately 30 kilohertz, so 30,000 times a second, we will probably get to see the 14th digit tick over once or twice. It will take 10 million years to just get to the third row. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rows. It's 10 rows of 10 numbers then. So yeah.
That's a big number.
It sure is. And speaking of, I haven't gotten a text message from the Euro jackpot tonight, so yeah, still have to go into work tomorrow. I did actually Google. I followed it up. I tried reading the HR manual. Fair enough, they did not state anything about it, but I Googled what happens if you just don't turn up at work one day. And it turns out the worst thing that can happen is that you get fired. I mean, that's the extent of what they can do. I mean, they can't drag you to court for anything. You breached your contract of turning up for money, and if you don't turn up, they won't give you money. So
Yeah.
It is as easy as that. Just don't turn up.
And they might say, well, we're not going to give you your final pay.
Yeah.
To which you can say, I'm a multimillionaire. You can keep your change.
Yeah.
If only.
Oh, yeah, if only. One day, statistically, it's never going to be any of us.
Yeah, but I mean, if we are on the time scales of the counter and that song, then I mean, then the odds are in your favor if you're playing that long game.
Yeah, I
Still think the odds are quite long.
I will build that Google counter, and I will also add into, for each row I want it to give me the probability that I now have won the Euro jackpot. And then, yeah, if you live to 7 million years old, you have probably won once. Probably.
Yes, but you've spent more in tickets than you actually win.
That's quite possible, yeah.
Details.
Let's not get bogged down with details and facts.
I mean, that's sad and interesting. The odds of you winning something and playing a long time, and the amount of money playing that time would have cost you, and the odds of beating that as well, of just breaking what the odds of breaking even on playing your jackpot.
Yeah, I mean, we have the national lottery as well in Norway, and sometimes the drawing of the numbers is, or at least it used to be, live televised on Saturdays. And before they draw the numbers, sometimes they just do some fun with numbers and the statistics. And the one piece of statistic that people seem to remember is that if you get on a train from Oslo to Trondheim, which is like 500 rough kilometers, and it takes you 8 hours. So at one point along that journey, you open the window and you toss out a golf ball and hit a bucket. Then you have won the lottery. That's the odds. So at a random point, you should chuck a golf ball out to a randomly placed bucket along the train lines. And then people started realizing, crap, that's not going to happen for me. But still, people are playing, which is nice. When I win,
happens to someone.
Yes, exactly. And then
You've got to be in it to win it.
And then the fun thing is that the national lottery in Norway is like it averages around £1 million, so it's not like the huge numbers, but I mean it's still huge. Um, and of course, for us who have had statistics, we know this if we start to do the maths. But of those six numbers, all six of them at any given order have the same odds of winning. So if you like choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that has just an equal chance of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But then they did the statistics on it. Like a couple of thousand people use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 every week as their number, because statistically that is just as likely to win. But if that number wins and you get £1 million, you have to share that with 2,000 people, and then you are left with, and they showed up the number, like, oh, that would have been a bad day when you get the message
Yeah.
like you won the first prize in the lottery, like, oh yeah, buying a yacht, sending the fuck you messages to all the people at work and boss and everything, and yep, you got to share it with all those people, so you get £120 paid out, like, yeah. And it's hard to go back on the messages you have sent then. I mean, you just have to this have to follow through on this.
Yeah. Yeah. At one point, I did some serious data mining on previous winning numbers, and you could see that some numbers came up more often than others. But then I realized that, yep, some other people have done this. So if I actually win, then I would have to share it with someone else.
Yeah. And that,
Yes. Dear HR, that scathing resignation letter I sent, that was meant for somebody else.
that's the thing though. If you use Outlook, you can always take backsies, and then of course that works in maybe 2% of all cases, but then you can at least just pretend, no, I didn't. Yeah, but no, that wasn't me.
That was a phishing attempt. You fell for it. I'm reporting you to IT.
Yeah, that's we spoke about that last week, didn't we? I fell for a phishing attempt this week, actually.
Ooh.
Because the IT company is ramping up, and I usually spot them. I got sloppy, and I'm not sure if, I mean, they sent an invite link to a Teams channel that looked very real. And of course, the information, I struggle to see some external having that name on that person teamed up with that channel name that actually was very relevant for what I'm working on. So of course IT have that information, but I struggle to see some external having all those pieces put together. But yeah, it was kind of fun coming to that page, and yeah, you fell for this, and how this is how you can avoid that in the future. So yeah, but
Yeah, I almost fell for one just the other week. Or, yeah, I was in that group that opened the mail but didn't click on anything because they sent out. It was like an activation code email.
oh yeah,
But I mean, that was just a couple of minutes after I received one that I actually wanted. So that's what? Are you sending two of them? So I open. No, this looks weird and different. No, it's someone typed in the wrong email address or something like that, or just didn't think about it. But yeah, that was actually something from IT trying to bait us. But yes,
yeah.
they managed to do it. But I mean, just within minutes of a real one. So it was.
But
Yeah.
then the problem is if you start to utilizing that thought that you are using when you're gambling, the but what if? And of course, I got a message. No, first I got an email here a couple of days ago, like, Yeah, your package from New Zealand is coming. Click on this link to track it. Yeah, haven't ordered anything from New Zealand, so yeah, not doing that. Straight to trash. Then I got a message on the Norwegian postal app, like your package from New Zealand. God damn it! That, I mean, that is two very different systems. So yeah, you can go to their website and put in the number. I didn't click on any link, but I just copy pasted the tracking number and put it in. But it just said a package for you from the New Zealand post office or something like that. I'm like, God damn it! And then yesterday, I got a package from New Zealand. Of course, I wish it was from my long lost Nigerian prince relative, but it wasn't. But I got the rotating motor for a disco ball, so, which I very much ordered. So, but I did not think it
Oh, yeah.
came from New Zealand. So, yeah, pleasantly surprised, but a bit perplexed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the global economy does to you. You never know where stuff comes from and when they do arrive.
No. And I'm also been last couple of days. I've been looking into. I need another two-stroke engine. Um,
Of course, you do.
and of course I want the cheapest one, but also with they come with different kinds of connections for the splines on the axles, and I want the ones with the square notch, because it's very easy to take a hand file and make a square end on a rod to make an axle. Because I'm going to make that two-stroke vacuum cleaner. There is two problems with that as I see it. I want one where the engine is located in line with the vacuum cleaner, so I don't need to have an angle drive or something, so I can have the engine
Yeah.
placed straight at the back. Not a lot of vacuum cleaner companies give you these breakaway sketches showing the orientation of all the components inside the vacuum cleaner. And of course, I also want it to be red and cost next to nothing. So it's getting slim. So I'm sitting on an online marketplace looking for red. But that's a good segue on to our vacuum cleaner, which has been acting up the last couple of weeks. And of course, my wife was then, maybe I now can get that new one that I really wanted. But of course, I'm a maker, so I couldn't help myself. So I took it downstairs and opened it up. And I realized that the spinny retracting mechanism for the cable has two metal prongs who touch two metal rings on the axle for that spinny thing. And those has gotten all dust and grime on them. So that's the reason why it just turns off every once in a while. So all I had to do was clean them up with some acetone and Q-tips. And I don't know why, but I wanted to do a bit more thorough job. So I tried to lift the cassette that sits on top of the axle. And once I did, it just made this sound. And then you have this very huge leaf spring curled up on the floor. And some parts were flung around the workshop. I could hear them landing everywhere. Haven't found them. I looked at it and figured out, all right, this, I could put it back again. So I started winding up that spring until it got so tight that if I lose grip of it now, it's going to cut me in ways that I'm going to bleed out on my workshop floor. So I just figure out, all right, we're not going to have a retractable cable anymore. So I just dropped that and soldered the cable directly onto the wires on the switch and screwed it together again, because it worked now. So no need in testing it before you're assembling it. So I screwed it together and plugged it in, and no, it's dead as a dodo. And there is no. I can't see any reason why it should be dead. So it's probably. It might not have been the contactors, the contact patches at all. It might be something on the circuit board. So I just cut the cable off and threw that into the cable bin for later use. And now I'm Googling vacuum cleaners. And of course, I'm not taking that pleasure away from my wife. So I asked her which model she looked at. And yeah, one of those that I looked at was actually the one she was looking at. So we are getting a new vacuum cleaner this week, which is it's hard to admit how excited I am by that, but here we are.
And domestic bliss has been restored.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, vacuum cleaners are hard in that way. I mean, I tried fixing our old one, and I mean, partly I did the same thing because that the winding up of the cable doesn't work anymore. So we just retired that machine to the workshop. So I have all the cables hanging on a hook instead.
Yeah.
And then I removed the part where you can adjust the force of how much it sucks. So I just took that board out and replaced it with just a normal light switch instead. Which is it's barely taped on with hazard tape, so it looks kind of Frankenstein-y. But
Yeah. But
yeah.
that's the one thing that really annoys me, and that is how simple it is. It is.
It's really simple.
It's a plastic box. You put a bag in it, and there is a fan that makes a vacuum, and then you have a switch on and off, and then you have a wheel, which is basically just a resistor adjusting how much the motor spins, and that is it. And it was not possible to open it without breaking at least a couple of plastic tabs. I had to find a YouTube video to figure out how to break it apart, and even when I followed the instruction, things broke. And it is so simple. This you could easily make this one serviceable to the degree that you would never have to buy a vacuum twice in your life. I mean, but still, it annoys me to. I mean, yes, it looks great for a vacuum cleaner, but I mean, if you're listening to this and you are one of the design engineers for vacuum cleaners who are actually designing them for early obsolete, whatever it's called, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you're working for the dark side when the right to repair is a real thing.
It is.
There was a good series. It was on TV, but he's actually uploaded them all to YouTube.
Planned
now.
obsolescence. That was the word I was struggling for. Yeah.
That's the one. You've ever heard of a chap called Tim Hunkin?
Yeah.
That I know of.
British fella.
Placed
The Secret Life of Machines.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he did one on vacuum cleaners. I've stuck it in the chat so we can find it later. It's a good show. I mean, these were all produced probably knocking on the door of 40 years ago now, but the principles all remain the same.
Yeah.
No, they're a good watch.
I think someone sent me an ad for a 50s fridge. And if you have one today, they're still working. If you buy a fridge today, after the 5-year warranty is out, it's going to die. And all those 50s fridges that came with these revolving plates that you could just spin so you could get whatever was at the back. They had separate inserts in the door for fruits and vegetables that you could just detach and take with you to the table where you're working and making food, and then you could put it back again. And yeah, we've really gone backwards on home appliances, I feel. One thing is the planned obsolescence, but the usage of them, they are so simple. I mean, yeah.
Well, it's going backwards and forwards, isn't it? Because they realise we've made these things so well, people are buying one and then they're keeping it for 20, 30, 40 years, and they're not buying new ones.
Yeah.
So we've got to make them crap, because people I've sold you a great machine, great. Do you want to buy a new one? Why would I want to buy a new
Yeah.
one?
Now,
This one works fine.
and from a company perspective, I get it. But then again, I don't get it, because I like buying stuff once. I have no problem paying for something that is of good quality if this is the last time I'm going to be paying for that item. But that's not the world I live in. I mean, still though, I mean, even if you made it, and of course it's a cost attached to it, but if you made something, I mean, in a large scale, it wouldn't be that much more expensive to make it serviceable. Because as a company, most people are happy tossing it away to buy a new one because they want a different color or whatnot. So the few of us who actually like to take things apart to service them and put them back together again, we are so few that we don't make a dent into that economy. So they could please both camps.
Yeah, that's actually true. And I mean, having something that is, you can take it apart with a screwdriver easily, then a lot of people who really shouldn't will take them apart and won't be getting them back together. So then they will sell new ones from that. So I think they would make a profit in that sense. Even if we who with some kind of skill actually repaired ours, they would still make more bank.
Yeah, and then you could also get some Darwinism into the mix as well. I mean, you could thin out the herd of the, like, yeah, if you're licking the live wire, then this this world wasn't
There's a
for you.
reason we make these units sealed for life. It's so you don't go prodding this capacitor with a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And now you're really not buying another one.
Yeah, you should
Because
you should make them really easy to disassemble so that kids could do it. Because then, oh look, mommy, I'm taking apart a vacuum cleaner. Okay, we have to buy a new one.
Yes, I was not popular in my house for a while after I decided that do you know what, I've got a screwdriver, and I'm going to take apart this vintage carriage clock that's on the mantelpiece because I want to see how it works. And yes, tiny springs everywhere. It never went back together.
Yeah.
It's good to start playing it hard.
Exactly. Why can't you do something simple? Because that's boring.
I have it was at a local factory. They had a clock, a master clock that was the driver for a lot of clocks around, for basically clocking in for the workers. So you had a system of like punching in and punching out, and then those clocks had to be on time and synchronized. And that factory, of course, went to a digital system, so they didn't need this old punching system, and they threw that away. But the master clock was just hanging on the wall. And my father at some point got a hold of it. I think he got it. I don't think he stole it. But of course, they just cut the wires and brought it in. So the only thing I know about it is it's a very beautiful clock, very like industrial design, and it ran on 24 volts. That's all I know. But there is no way for me to know what all those wires are doing, and it's very much mechanical. Tried to Google the company who made them, tried to email the company who, I mean, it went bankrupt at some point and got bought up, and someone should have an old manual or something, but no, I've drawn a blank. And then there is one guy at an online marketplace. He had the manual for a similar clock from the same producer, so maybe I should get that one to try and figure out if there is enough similarities to them that I can figure out by elimination what the components are in the clock. But he wanted way too much money for it because he thought it was worth a lot since it was old. And I'm not paying 50 quid for a leaflet. So that's that's where he's stranded. But someday I might stumble over a user manual for it, and then I'm gonna have a clock in my workshop.
Have you searched the Internet Archive for that
No,
particular manual?
that I have not.
Give it a go, because there's all manner of stuff on the Internet Archive.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's not going to happen now because that clock is in bubble wrap in a box in the attic under a lot of other crap. So it's going to take a week to find it.
Yeah,
And that's
I'm pretty sure.
that's the problem, though. It was taken out of. I mean, this. My father got a hand of it, and it was decommissioned in the early 90s. So it is a bit how much digital copies of the manuals did they actually make before they went bankrupt or something. So it is. But yeah, the Internet Archive.
Wow, for the low price of a quick search, it's probably worth having a quick look.
Yeah.
So remember, I saw something very similar for sale once. It was an old BBC BBC radio clock, and they had a very similar setup. So they would have had a master clock, so all the radio station broadcast rooms had a synchronized time.
Yeah.
And again, this thing had just been ripped out and was spuriously for sale on eBay. But I imagine that there'll be some sort of whether there's going to be supplying voltage to all the sort of like extraneous clocks, and so power and maybe a signal wire to synchronize somehow stuff way outside my wheelhouse, to coin an Americanism.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Would be
Because
interesting.
24 volts for a clock is quite a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it very much sounds like a DC system for signaling. Yeah.
And I'm not sure it didn't have the onboard power source, so I'm guessing the 24 volts is. I'm not sure if that went into the clock and it needed that voltage to be able to not have too much power drop in a huge factory when you have different. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah.
Yeah, and if you want a secure time, you would have it on a battery system in some way, and then 24 volts makes really much sense.
And I'm rapidly running out of electrical knowledge, but 24 volts, would that have a higher hertz frequency for accuracy, or am I really in a completely wrong part of the world here?
Yeah, I would say 24 volts DC instead, so no frequency at all, because that's just 2 car batteries in series as well. I'm just guessing here as well.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Do you have a flag for that? The guessing flag. Oh. oh. I was gonna say, oh shit, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Screenshotting that as well.
I guess there's going to be some flags in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah. But I googled wall clock 24 volts, and someone has put an identical clock out for sale. Let me see. I'm going to drop you a screenshot of it. So you can see this. This is the clock that is in my attic. Again, this is brilliant podcast material. Pasting the picture in an internal group. Great audio content. So the glass, no, the clocks, the watch, the clock face is behind the glass, but the glass is bigger than the clock face. You can actually see the rotating cogs in between. And this guy, and this one, it looks worse for wear than the one I got. And he wants £300 for it. So if he sells it for that, I'm going to my attic. And he also has some pictures from the inside. But again, I think someone has cut the wires there as well. It's actually a Swedish brand, Västerstrands.
If you say so. I don't know my clocks. Or, yeah, I have no clocks to know.
All right, by the text, it's been in a school, hasn't been used in many years. Don't have the year, but it is very old. Then, of course, she has priced it to a lot. I can, of course, send a message and ask, does it work? I'm going to do that.
Do you have the instruction manual by any chance?
Yeah.
And
I mean, that...
could you send me some high quality photographs of this instruction manual?
Just to be sure that it actually...
No, but it seems like the wires are cut on the outside, so it looks like all the wires on the inside is untouched. And yeah, I need some more quality pictures because some of the contact points seems to be labeled as well. And then it might help me figuring out. Yeah.
These old school engineers are actually labeling what things do.
Yeah, got to love them. But yeah, and here we have all the people saying having a podcast is just a waste of time. If we hadn't had this episode, I wouldn't have known that someone is selling the exact clock that I have.
Everything happens for a reason, man.
And now that reason has shown itself, then we can go for tonight. Or, yeah.
And this is, again, great content. This is something that KJ is going to like. Because it seems like it runs not on different voltages, but that it needs different voltages. Because you see 0, 127, 150, and 220 volts. So 50 PS, that is 50. I'm guessing that's 50 hertz.
Yeah, that should be, yeah.
Should make sense. So, yeah.
127. That was...
It's a weird number, but yeah.
Oh, I see you have the new 127 volt clock.
Yeah.
You fancy bastard.
I'm trying to do some electrical math in my head, but it doesn't really scan. But yeah, sure, there are so many weird standards, especially back in the day. So, interesting.
Oh, yeah. Again, I'm pretty sure it was a Tim Hunkin video. It might even be A Secret Life of Electricity, when sort of every region had their own generating board, and their voltage and frequency was whatever they wanted it to be.
Yeah, because I mean, back in the day, it didn't really matter because most of the electricity went to lights or heating. So Yeah, it's some volts. Who cares? And I mean, nowadays we don't really care either because everything is. I mean, you can put most anything into anything, and it will just switch it down to whatever it feels like.
Multi-voltage everything.
Yeah.
Some furious typing going
Yeah,
on over there.
I'm trying the honest approach. I'm asking if it works, and blatantly just gives the reason why I'm asking, because I have one and I would like to get mine working, not buying hers at a ridiculous price. I didn't write that, of course.
Or maybe this requires a modern approach. Why don't you steal all her pictures, dump them all into ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, how the hell does this work? It's worth a go.
Yeah.
Okay, so 127 volts, that could be the single phase if 220 is the three phase voltage, because that fits with the yeah, 3 squared. But 150, I have to think about that. Yeah, I mean, you totally nerd sniped me with.
Yeah. And a 3-phase clock.
Yeah, I
Big
mean,
double
this
as a table
this
store.
is good shit.
And then again, I mean, there is, and the worst thing about these are, it is probably at least one guy out there who is just like me. He's an old employee of that company, and he has in his spare time digitized all the manuals for all the clocks that they have ever produced, and he have that on an external hard drive because he's a hoarder. But he doesn't know I exist and that I need what he has. And he's probably still happy about it. So
But now at least you have told the world on a podcast that everyone listens to.
yeah.
So now maybe he knows.
Yeah, I mean, believing that you might win the lottery, you could just as well believe that an old employee of Westergren's clock company in Sweden listened to us on a regular basis.
Maybe, just maybe, in the realms of weird science and Lovecraft and somebody else who I can't think of their name at the moment, if you get this clock going, maybe it will tell you the winning lottery numbers. Eh?
Aye.
I mean, it's unlikely, but it might.
I mean, if you put enough monkeys in a room, they will write Hamlet. Wasn't that yeah?
Yeah, infinite monkeys and infinite typewriters.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll get Shakespeare.
I would not want neither infinite monkeys or infinite typewriters. That both sounds like something of hell.
All right, I found a forum that posts an image of a almost identical clock, and it states that the watch has both a synchrone motor and a pendulum. Ooh, it's more internal pictures. Yeah, this becomes the Haavard Saves Clock Pictures podcast. I mean, if I get enough pictures, I just have to get wires with the same colors and solder them up as I see them in the pictures, and it should work, shouldn't it? That's how electricity works.
Maybe. That depends on what your role on your luck skill check.
I've just fed the 2 pictures that you put in the chat into ChatGPT, and it doesn't tell me anything particularly useful.
Did you expect that?
Well, just something. Yeah.
You know, I asked something here. It wasn't ChatGPT. It was the internal Microsoft one, Copilot. Yeah, I asked the difference between 2 things, and it said, "I don't know, but," and then he wrote several pages of crap. And like, if you don't know, you should just stop. That should be a part of the programming, and it's an honest thing. I don't know. Then okay, that's a fair answer. But when you're then, but if I should guess, then no, that doesn't help anyone. Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know. Ask me another.
Yeah. Or prompt me differently.
Yeah, we should take a cue from that and just shut up. So thanks for
Literally.
listening, and we'll see you next week
For more
because we're running out of recording time.
clock talk. Yeah, that too. Yeah. All right.
What do you
Have
have?
a nice one.
Bye.
See you in a week.
Goodbye, flag. Goodbye, flag.
I need a goodbye flag.
Is that the surrender flag, or is it?
I have a surrender flag, but it's not on a stick.